playing musical instruments since I was 4. I picked up piano. My mom and dad took me to piano lessons. Then after that, just kind of gravitated toward the trumpet that was laying at my uncle's house. Picked that up, started playing it. So I've always been playing music, and decided to go to school to be a band director. So I play a lot of different instruments, but it's just always been in my blood. Sung since I was 2. And then I'm a roots artist, it's blues based. The first band I was in was just totally random. About 10 years ago now, they asked me if I wanted to be in a band because I had sung an Aretha Franklin song, didn't know anything about blues, really at all, and just said yeah, because they said they were going to do that kind of music, and then I found out I loved it. And then just once I started singing it, and my voice had changed enough by then, my voice keeps getting deeper all the time, so it just really was a good fit for me. And I just fell into it, realized I loved it.
Interesting. So were you a band director?
I was.
Taught at a school?
I taught for 3.5 years, and then I got pregnant with my daughter, and I stayed home. Then after that, I did church music after that, though. So I still was a band director, but just in a different form. But yeah, I did teach music for 3.5 years. Well, music, like I said, has always been in my blood. My mom is a musician. She was the church choir director and stuff, and she played piano. So she always encouraged me to do piano and to sing. Not really what I'm doing now, this kind of music. It was, more against church music, right? I was the wedding and funeral singer in my little town forever, and the family one. So she started me off, and then, my uncle, her brother was a bachelor, and I was his only niece, and so he was a really huge audiophile. He loved all kinds of music, and so he got me my first radio, probably against my mom's better judgment, because she didn't want me listening to that kind of music. But he got me my radio, and then he would always buy me, when CDs came out. I had tapes for a long time, and then when CDs came out, he got me my CD player. He got me a Walkman. He was always the guy to give me the stuff, and he, like I said, he loved everything. So I listened to all kinds of different music, anything from Deep Purple to Emmylou Harris to Lord knows, just everything. And so he really influenced what I listened to. And just having a wide range of things that I liked. So I didn't ever really get stuck in one genre, which I could have growing up in northern Wisconsin. We didn't have a lot of music in the 80s. There's only a few radio stations. And then, influences probably, it's weird because, like I just told you, I didn't really get into R&B and blues until about 10 years ago. But I did listen to a lot of really strong females. Heart. I think there's Ann Wilson in me. And then I got into the 90s. I still love Beth Hart. So as far as my vocal style, when I found blues at a James, was huge. And then Aretha. I always knew Aretha, but I didn't know that was really blues-based music until much later. But Aretha was really special to me because now that I know more about why I do what I do, she really had that soul and that, the spiritual side of that aspect, which really came through in her singing and in her songs. So I really appreciate that now, and that I incorporate a lot into what I do. So just strong females. There's a lot. Mark always says, "Don't you like any guy singers?" Like, yes, I do. But as a woman, it's always nice to find somebody you can identify with. I always identify with the strong female voices.
And there's a lot of strong female in the church. That's
Yep.
the gospel tradition.
Yep, definitely.
So would you consider, R&B blues kind of your genre?
Yeah, I say roots music.
Roots music.
Yeah, American roots, because I think blues, there's a saying, blues is the roots and the rest is the fruits, right?
Gotcha.
Because blues really is the base of rock and roll and all these other things. So I like roots. I like Americana because I think it encompasses, because I do so much more than blues, but those things are all in there. Those roots are definitely there. So I like that better. I get kind of, because blues is a much bigger genre, more familiar to people. So I kind of get grouped into that. But
Sure.
I like roots because I think that encompasses a lot of different things. think it's changing a lot, which is good. This is a whole day subject conversation with
Briefly,
blues
where do
people.
you see it?
Yeah. Because blues is a Black American art form, and so there's a whole conversation around that and what it is, right? So what is blues? There are some people that really firmly believe that it should be this box, and then there are some people who think it should be this box, and then there's people like me who, if you can look at an art form and it can breathe and it can move and grow, that's what you want, because then it's going to be able to relate to younger people, and really that's what you need, is to be able to create something that's going to attract young people. And I've talked to a lot of Black artists in the blues who have talked about that aspect, that a lot of young Black people have gone to rap and hip hop and left the blues. So really it's been a kind of a challenge to kind of bring them back and find some great, there are a lot of great young Black artists out there, but to get them to notice them and to say, hey, that's cool. So that's kind of where we're at, I think, is just getting the young people interested in it again, because our audience is getting older and older for the blues. And I have found that it would, a lot of times, if I attract younger people, because my music isn't, typical of blues necessarily, but we always go back to our roots and play old stuff. And at the end of the show, I have young people come and go, I didn't know I liked blues. Even older people say, I didn't even know I liked blues till I saw you. I said, well, and then that's true, because a lot of people have this weird connotation that blues is boring, or I don't know. I just think they don't know enough about it to understand it. But once you really listen to it, if you can just get them, and then they can dig back into Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson and look at all that, and then they go, oh, I get it. But I do think there is something about being an older person to be able to really understand blues, because it really is about a lot of life experiences. So, but you have those as a child too, right? Teenagers have a lot of angst they can have the blues about. So I think it's just about being real, genuine, and making a story that everybody can relate to in one way or another. I don't really have a process necessarily. I just kind of get inspired as I go. They're all stories, but about either my life or combined with a story that I heard. I always tell people, if I'm sitting next to them in a restaurant, I'm listening to their conversation, because everybody always has something interesting. There's always some snippet that is interesting and could be a song starter. So it's just totally random. I would say I'm a stay-at-home mom most of the time. I homeschool, so I don't have a ton of time to just sit around and be creative. So I have to take time off to do that. And when I do that, I do end up writing a few songs. But most of the time, it's just spur of the moment. Something inspires me. I'll play one tonight called Stay Home Mama. I wrote about being a stay-at-home mom, and it came out in about 5 minutes. And I just sat down. I went, I got to write a song right now. And that happens a lot, where a song will come and I'll write it right then. So it's just totally random. And like I said, all of it is about, as far as messages, it's just, again, about being genuine. It's all about stuff that I know about, because I can't invest myself in singing it if I don't really feel it. So it's got to be something I can empathize with, or, and convey just that genuine, like, this is a real story. I think that's about it.
Interested in following in your footsteps.
Well, I didn't start till I was 35,
Yes.
so yeah. Well, the plus is you get to do what you love, and the minus is it's really hard. It's a lot of work, and I always say I get paid for all the work before and after the show, and not actually for performing, because I would do that for free. I would do that for free.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like the pay is really for the other parts, and a lot of times it doesn't match up with how much work you put in the rest of the time. So that's hard, and it is hard to be self-employed. That's a whole other thing you have to be ready for. I would say, if you're going to start out and you really want to be serious about it, to get your business in order right from the get-go, know who you are, so you don't get bowled over by somebody, which is hard when you're young. So I would say, if you're a young person, to make sure that you don't have just yes people around you, that you have at least one strong partner. Like I have Mark, who will call me out on my crap. I have my husband, he'll call me out on my crap if he has to, and say you're being ridiculous. You need those people around you. So as a young person, you don't necessarily want that because you think you know a lot about everything. So have some people around you who you trust, who will call you out and keep you on the straight and narrow, who know you really well, because it is really easy to go off, I would think. In my experience, I've had a few situations where I could have done something I probably would have regretted, as far as, signing something or doing something stylistically I didn't really want to do because there was some shoulds, you should do this, you should do that. And there's always going to be a lot of people, if you're really talented, who are going to come and try and do that. So just make sure you know yourself really well, or as best you can when you're young.
I was gonna say, almost maybe a good thing that you started a little bit later.
Well, right, and especially this genre, like I said earlier, you really do have a benefit being an older person who has been through some stuff, to be able to relate to the blues because you've been through a lot. So, but yeah, I would think if I would have started as a young person, I would really need some really great support of people who really know you really well. I love small clubs. We have the Dakota in Minneapolis. I love the Dakota Crooners in Minneapolis. I love clubs that are about 300 people. I'd say like tops 500 people, because I can relate. I can still see everybody's faces. I can still talk. Feel like I'm talking to them. I like intimate spaces. I love, of course, festivals are super fun, and there's always really great to be in front of thousands of people, and you can go up and be really loud. But I really love playing with a group of people who is listening, who came there to listen and wants to be involved in the show, and really, that's what they came there for, and be able to, because I feel relationships are so important to me, and then that's how I make relationships with people, is when I'm communicating through my music. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna love this.
I'm sure.
So. All right, that's all I got. Thank
all right,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank
really
you.
good.